Alrighty, so we're up to the third part. Wait, is it the third part? The third part, yeah. Third part of this series where we're going to talk about the years 2018 to 2020 of Trump's first presidency under Heritage Foundation administration with their mandate for leadership that was done beginning March 2016 up until November 2016. Well, that was when it was published. Now, at this point, we've established by the end. So 2015, we have UK leading the digital economy for 2030, and they've, through their United Nations or former League of Nations, they've deployed the Sustainable Development Goals with AI in mind, with technology, leading technology that will help bring Agenda 2030 forward. 2016, we have them introducing open banking with implementation of AI and data sharing. And that is the introduction of open banking, which open banking is the wording for basically the whole global banking transition of the digital economy. So getting all the banks on board and having fintech come in and infiltrate these countries' banking industries, and them allowing it because we're under British colonial rule, like Australia, and coming in with their digital ID before our laws are passed for digital ID, before AI laws are passed. Can you believe it? Well, I can, but this is what's happened. Before our laws are passed, we're having this infiltration and this implementation put forward. And it all started in 2016 with the UK leading it, as well as UK leading digital economy and AI, with their United Nations, with that strategy for Agenda 2030 launched. So that is clearly established. And by the end of 2016, when Obama is finishing up and Heritage Foundation by March 2016, which is British in its origins, has already, by March 2016, has already created the mandate for leadership, knowing what policies need to be put in place for Agenda 2030 for when Trump takes over, mind you. By October 2016, Obama has put in the first strategy or plan ever under the White House for AI to be a priority. So he's paving the way intentionally for UK, but also for Trump to take over. And he's appointed Mick Mulvaney to create be the director of CFPB after he was the head of OMB, to create a regulatory agenda for open banking. That's by 2017 that Mick Mulvaney is appointed. So the first year of Trump's presidency. And Trump has already conducted a summit for AI and is, putting all the chess pieces in place, pretty much, for both AI and open banking. So that's where we're at. Alongside the Department of Defense and Congress getting involved, which, as I said, is separate. Remember, I said it's separate from Trump or Trump administration, well, supposedly, but that's partnering with all the large tech partners at this point it was partnering for Project Maven initially, before there were issues with Google. Google is already a part of this plan of Agenda 2030 only under the Trump administration. It didn't happen during Obama administration. It happened in 2017. It commenced in 2017 under the Trump Heritage Foundation administration. So I just want to be very clear with that the big tech gurus and partners are all on board, and it happened under Trump in his first year of presidency, following Heritage Foundation's policy blueprint, which is British, and also following the instructions of Congress. So we're up to here. So this is part 3. So it's starting in 2018. Okay. So by March 2018, the Department of Defense, or DoD, under Trump's administration, announced the JEDI contract as a key component of its IT modernization strategy. The project aimed to develop a unified cloud infrastructure to enable advanced capabilities like artificial intelligence and machine learning for defense operations. After a little bit of hoo-ha with Trump getting involved, bad-mouthing Amazon, and there being a court case, whatever the hell that was, Microsoft and Google are competing. Google, after the Project Maven mayhem, which they actually withdrew from because they said there was a conflict of interest with their ethical values or their principles, they withdrew from this bidding quite early on because of their learnings from Project Maven, and basically that people were having a go. People were not happy with what they were doing, and that it was a very massive conflict of interest to be involving themselves in defense, in American national defense. And so at this point, you know, the main players were really Google and Microsoft, and they were competing. April, Microsoft published its first guidance on PSD2 compliance and open banking, emphasizing, because as I said initially, all the major tech partners are literally on board with this Agenda 2030. They would have been a part of it even before Trump administration coming through and introducing it. They would have all known this was going to happen. Without a doubt, there'd be talks globally about this stuff, and especially in UK, of what is to come. So, April, Microsoft published its first guidance, open banking, emphasizing the role of APIs and cloud technology in creating secure, scalable systems for financial institutions. So, just get this right. At this point, between March and April of 2018, Microsoft is vying for market share in cloud services with AI for the open banking system and the AI defense system that they're trying to create in America. May 10th, 2018, the Trump administration reinforced AI as a strategic national priority, a critical factor for US economic and national security interests during the AI for American Industry Summit, highlighting the NSF's role in advancing AI research in academia and industry partnerships. Google executives likely participated alongside other tech leaders, providing insights into the private sector's advancements in AI. And I'm sure Microsoft, Amazon, etc., etc. June the 7th, Google, as a leader in AI development, launched its AI principles. And this was in response to Project Maven, right? They want to do good in the world. They're humane. They're all for humanity and ethics. It's branding, but they've got to control the brand because they've still got to continue on working for U.S. Congress and the president and what's taking place. They still want to be in the game. So it creates AI principles, I'm sure, under advice, which is an ethical charter to guide the responsible development and use of AI in, I should say their research and products. So basically a response to Project Maven and being involved in JEDI, in the defense proposals of AI. On June 7th, and undoubtedly became an important stakeholder. July the 9th, Trump nominated Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court under Heritage Foundation's instruction. Provisions of Section 1033 of the Dodd-Frank Act were made by Mulvaney. Remember, Mulvaney's appointed by Trump, but really by Heritage Foundation, to create this regulatory agenda for open banking. So the section of 1033 of the Dodd-Frank Act was made by Mulvaney's CFPB, which mandates that consumers have the right to access information about their financial accounts in support of CFPB's fall 2018 rulemaking agenda, which was published in October, indicating an intention to explore regulations that would empower consumers to access and share their financial data securely. The partnership between Google Earth Engine, straight after, so July the 16th, so June the 7th, they launched their ethics charter just to bulletproof them from now on. And they only do good by partnering. This is also in the Sustainable Development Goals PDF of the progress made thus far towards digital economy and Agenda 2030. Google's Earth Engine partners with the European Commission's Joint Research Centre, JRC, and it was officially announced in July 16, 2018. The collaboration, which also involved the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, aimed to leverage big data and advanced analytics to monitor and protect global freshwater ecosystems. It was unveiled during the high-level political forum on sustainable development at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Under Heritage Foundation's foreign policy guidance, the United Nations Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, was signed, replacing NAFTA, November 30th. Remember, 2017, Trump was already readying for this agreement, which would be, again, a Heritage Foundation policy blueprint, wink. Which is really the King's approval and the British Empire's approval, because Canada, definitely assuming Mexico, are dominions of the British Empire. But more than the most important thing is, as I've said before, and tried to get through to the Royal Grift, who said that I was stalking her, I was trying to get through to the fact that Canada is a Commonwealth nation. You can't just take over a Commonwealth nation, okay? The head of state is King Charles. Their king is King Charles, as much as our king is King Charles in Australia, okay? You need to have a chat. Why was Trump and Prince William talking in Paris? Perhaps it was that. It's looking more like that in that golden room for the golden age. I mean, a lot of symbolism is used, but that's just my own little opinion put in there. Anyway, so they replaced NAFTA with this new full trade agreement called USMCA, solidifying the deal of this Canada, US, and Mexico. What did he say? Economic force, whatever you want to call it, whatever he's talking about now in January 2025. He did this in 2018. By November the 30th, and it came into effect by July the 1st, 2020. The National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence, NSCAI, was established on August the 13th by Trump under the John S. McCain National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2019, NDAA, which was signed into law by President Trump. This move aligned with the Trump administration's broader efforts to modernize the military and secure US leadership in emerging technologies, supposedly competing against Russia and China, of course. It's always, I mean, they haven't really stopped the narrative and the story of communist Russia and communist China since World War II, right? Still the same old shit. Once Mulvaney had created, so have I got this here? NSC, I do have it. Yep, thank you. I just had to check. There's something important's coming up. Okay, once Mulvaney had created the regulatory agenda and launched it in October in 2018, he was succeeded by Kathleen, Kreninger. Kathleen, good old Kathleen, you know her, lives down the street. In December, also under Trump's administration, that one continued to oversee the CFPB's regulatory agenda, which was founded by Mulvaney, including issues related to open banking and consumer data access. For his work in May 2020, Mulvaney was appointed as a US Special Envoy for Northern Ireland. If that doesn't tell you anything, honestly, you need some water on your face, a nice refresher. 2019. By January, so we have August 2018, this National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence is moved by Trump and created. And then in January, he appoints Eric Schmidt, the CEO or former CEO of Google, to be its director. I'm pretty sure it's his director, chairman of that commission, tasked with assessing the national security implications of artificial intelligence and providing recommendations to Trump's US government. So here we have direct relations and partnership with Google and Trump. So I just want to make that clear at this point. February 11th, 2019, Trump issued Executive Order 13,859, launching the American AI Initiative, which was the first comprehensive national strategy for AI in the United States. But just remember, this all started October 2016 with Obama, and then it commenced in February 2017 with Trump. So it's just continued on from there. So it's been a good 2 years. March 2019, just to add this into a larger perspective, the Queen's planned and executed Megxit was launched Remember the separation of the houses between William and Harry with Kensington Palace? Yeah, that was the part of the exit plan. It was including the creation of Travelist and Earthshot. That was a part of the exit plan. That these two companies will be created and registered. 2 American Sustainable Goal SGB. That's meant to be Sustainable Development Goal Agenda 2030 companies. Considering it's all about environmentalism, digital environmentalism, whatever have you, innovation. It's all the same. It's all agenda, WEF, all this stuff, UN, all the same. All for this one outcome, which they lead anyway, or their father leads. And at this time, if she was still alive, the Queen led. At the same time, CIA and Aspen, Renee DeResta, which she has been covered multiple times, and also in the Twitter files, is on Joe Rogan talking about Trump's botched Russian votes and accounts. Yeah. I think I say a bit later on, but she was on CNN, on a newsreel, and she talks about accessing, so CIA accessing private metadata, being allowed to access private metadata on Twitter to track these accounts and to find out who they were in Russia and what they were doing and everything. I think IP addresses, etc., etc. So she was gaining private information. So it just tells you that intelligence and Twitter, I mean, it hasn't changed despite the change of CEO. It hasn't changed one bit. If you know Twitter now, you've got porn bots and algorithm suppression. Like, it's mental. It's actually way worse than what it was through Elon. So it just shows you the direct relationship between CIA and social media. And not just CIA, MI6, I'm sure of it, as I've had a fake journalist account on Twitter explained to me that we're under a supposed justified investigation from the royal family, and we have ceaseless continual monitoring of social media in direct partnership with these social media companies. Believe it or not, that was said. And it was meant to be some sort of like matter-of-fact situation that I was just meant to ignore or accept as like, oh yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Anyway. March 26, Google's Advanced Technology External Advisory Council, ATEAC, was announced or created with the President of Britain's Heritage Foundation. I'm not joking. So you've got right now, so since 2016, you have the Heritage Foundation pretty much administrating, acting as Trump's administration. They controlled the staffing. They were appointed to staff the administration. They were influencing judicial appointments, as I have already discussed. Over 200 appointments, actually, until the end of 2020, from 2017 when Trump started. And they also have this policy blueprint. So they're pretty much governing Trump's administration, or are Trump's administration. And the president of that foundation, and I know that they're based in Washington, the president of that foundation, who later becomes the Secretary of the Commonwealth of Virginia, she is appointed on the board of Google's ATEAC while she's managing Trump's administration. And this is to do with AI. This is AI Ethics Council or whatever it was, ATEAC. So it wasn't enough for Google to completely fuck up with these two defense contracts that they were toying with, Jedi and Project Maven. And then they created an ethics charter that was just complete and utter fluff. Because then they've gone and created this ATEAC and appointed on the board someone that can affect policy that is literally governing Trump's administration. The president, not just like some advisor at Heritage, not like Niall Gardner from UK. No. The president of Heritage Foundation. And so a lot of people cracked the shits, a lot of staff cracked the shits thinking that Google was trying to become a lobbyist within the US, which I would say much more than that. But you can see their involvement and how integrated they are in these plans for AI, and how they had relations with Heritage Foundation directly and Congress directly through these defense contracts and Heritage Foundation and Trump. So anyway, the one administrating Trump's office at the time with policy, judicial and staffing appointments, and later became Secretary of the Commonwealth of Virginia, as I said before, being appointed on its board. So the day after, on March the 27th, literally the day after, the Google CEO meets with Trump, Sundar Pichai, president of Google, and Trump tweets, who is obviously doing quite well. He stated strongly that he's totally committed to the US military, not the Chinese military. Good news, guys. Good news. I think at that point there was hearsay. I'm not sure if it was proven that that Google was working on a project, a Chinese project. Whether or not that was military, I don't know. I don't particularly care too much because of how much Google was partnering with Congress, Heritage Foundation, and Trump at this point, with the appointment of Eric Schmidt, with all his defense contracts, with the European Commission and UN. I mean, it just doesn't necessarily matter because China is just a part of it all anyway. It would just be like a little distraction, a little drama. Either way, I know for a fact that Google had denied their involvement or denied that the project was anything to do with something so serious. But Trump had to make sure that Google was on board. I don't think that was really the meeting, but that was what Trump has tweeted about. And then in a second tweet, Trump said they discussed political fairness and various things Google can do for our country. Meeting ended very well. Doesn't really say much, but obviously it's to do with AI and to do with what they're going to do to help. They're already helping. It's already, in progress. It could have just been risk mitigation for the both of them or for one of them. Either way, what the point of me saying this is, or these tweets is, Trump is literally meeting directly with Google, with the new Google president, or the Google president. the day after they've appointed Heritage Foundation's president, Kay Cole Smith, as their board member. So this is before they're kicking up a stink, but this is still while this is all happening. A Google spokesperson for business told Business Insider, "We were pleased to have productive conversations with the president about investing in the future of the American workforce." That's scary. The growth of emerging technologies and our ongoing commitment to working with the US government. So they're heavily involved. Google is heavily involved and directly involved with Trump, having discussions with Trump in 2018. April the 4th, after much backlash, especially staff backlash, ATEAC is supposedly cancelled. Who knows if that actually happened, but they say it happened, with an employee stating about the Heritage Foundation's appointment. "These technologies are shaping our social institutions, our lives, and access to resources. When AI fails, it doesn't fail for rich white men working at tech companies. It fails for exactly the populations that the Heritage Foundation's policies are already aiming to harm." So they're aware. They're aware of what's going on. That made me lol. June the 26th, Renee DiResta partners with Google Cloud to discuss disinformation. So you have CIA and Aspen now. Now that we've established this rapport and this really solid relationship with Google, Congress, the UN, European Commission, like everyone under the sun, Google. You have Renee DiResta, CIA, and Aspen partnering with Google Cloud to discuss disinformation and its implications on democracy. According to their 2019 financial statements, Aspen Institute had costs reimbursable. This is 2019, not 2018. Sorry, just to make sure I was on track. According to their 2019 financial statements, Aspen Institute had cost reimbursable grants from US federal agencies totaling approximately $24.2 million, with about $8.3 million obligated for expenditure. According to their 2020 financial statements, the Institute had cost reimbursable grants from US federal agencies totaling approximately $26.6 million, with about $11.6 million obligated for expenditure. Additionally, in April 2020, the Aspen Institute, CIA, received approximately $8 million in federally backed small business loans as part of the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, designed to assist organizations, which should be an S, in maintaining their workforce during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, following public scrutiny and internal discussions, the Institute decided to return the loan in May. Therefore, in 2019 and 2020, under the Trump administration, the Aspen CIA Institute with Renee DiResta was indeed a recipient of federal funding. So there's also now a relationship between Aspen, CIA, Aspen, and Trump administration, or Heritage Foundation, Trump administration. Around or by this time, CIA Aspen DiResta has gone on CNN to discuss how she was permitted to access Twitter account metadata to locate people, as I said before. July the 30th, Prince Harry spoke at Google's climate change conference in Sicily, Italy. I think it was with yachts and private jets and all that stuff, Climate change is real, guys. But this was just think about it. March that year, the Travelist launch is happening. He's just had his first fake child. And Megxit hasn't happened yet, but it's about to, wink. And he's just he's about to register an American company called Travelist and start that. And he's in July the 30th, he's at a Google camp in Sicily to talk about a tech partner, which will happen, I think, in 2021, to talk about environmentalism and climate change. Buckingham Palace refused to comment. September the 3rd, September the 3rd, the monarchy launched Travelist because he's still there in the UK at this time. He's about to go to South Africa, and launch Fachi for the first time into the public sphere. So that Megxit didn't even happen by then. Nothing happened by then, but they were registering this American company for the American Megxit to take place, which includes like Travelist is digital and environmental. So anyway, in financial year 2019, DARPA allocated a substantiated portion of its budget to AI initiatives, supporting research in autonomous systems, cybersecurity, and human AI collaboration. In the meantime, during Trump's MI6 Tavistock Heritage Foundation administration, or less, the CFPB set the stage for future rulemaking by identifying key issues and considerations related to consumer data rights and open banking by the end of 2019. October the 25th, Microsoft. So they're starting, remember, cloud services for open banking. And then on October the 25th, they win the JEDI contract, later Joint Warfighter Cloud Capability, JWCC, to develop a unified cloud infrastructure to enable advanced capabilities like artificial intelligence and machine learning for defense operations. Going with Trump's AI initiative, that's to make AI a national priority for national security for Agenda 2030. 2020, March, I should mention March 2020 is also when, during COVID, when the Bank of England central banking policy to create inflation all over developed countries, again to equalise us economically, ready for what's about to come, took place under Trump administration, under Heritage Foundation. So the banking policies came through to make sure that inflation came about during COVID. I think Richard Werner, the economist, discusses that. So if you wanted to look at that online through his videos or his interviews, you can watch that. And in the same month, despite not having any kids, a marriage, or Megxit being real, Prince Harry is issued an American visa under Trump's British Heritage Foundation administration. Yes, the very same foundation that is incriminating the Biden administration about this very topic. So I don't know who's watching this and who's more interested in the whole like open banking digital Agenda 2030. I get that, but alongside this, with the British Empire still, being considered, you've got the Prince of the British monarchy, fake living in the US, And right now, Trump, as soon as he's come in, we have the Megxit community telling everyone that there's going to be an investigation, that there's a promised investigation about this visa, and Heritage Foundation is leading it, which is Trump's administration again, in 2025. But the thing is, Heritage Foundation was the administration involved in issuing the supposed visa in 2020, along with Trump, not Biden. So, what sort of investigation would you be doing? What sort of bullshit is this? It is just complete shit. Absolute shit. Niall Gardner, who is a foreign policy advisor for Heritage Foundation, but also a royalist and journalist for the royal family, supposed journalist. I don't know how you can be a journalist and foreign policy advisor, but there you go. But then again, most intelligents are journalists, right? So he's talking about him taking charge of this investigation because he really is hurt by what Prince Harry has done. It's just absurd, absolutely absurd. And you have the current articles with Trump pursuing this investigation and deporting Harry. Harry doesn't live in the US. There's no reason for him to live in the US if he doesn't have any kids or marriage or Megxit. He doesn't live at that Montecito mansion. It's leased. And it's a Black Rock property, isn't it? That's what I've been told. So it's just complete and utter shit. So I just want to put that out there. At the same time as this Bank of England central banking policy is put into place to create inflation and get us all on the same boat in desperation for a solution and a saviour, and to never own property again, I guess. So, and that was under Trump as well, but no one will talk about that either, because Trump was blindsided, remember? Completely blindsided. September 26, Trump nominated Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court under Heritage Foundation's instruction. From 2017 to 2020, Trump appointed over 200 federal judges based on Heritage's recommendations, emphasizing originalist and textualist interpretations of the law. Under Heritage Foundation, Trump leads COVID pandemic with purbright welcome vaccines and claims ownership of them, claiming that he is the father of the vaccines. So we're at that point in 2020. Let's have a look here. All right, so this is the AI Summit 2018, product of the White House and Office of Science and Technology Policy. It's all about AI. The White House hosted the Artificial Intelligence for American Industry Summit to discuss the promise of AI. Ooh, thrilling. And the policies we will need to realize that promise. What promise? The special relationship you have with UK. Yeah. For the American people to maintain US leadership in the age of artificial intelligence. But there would be no age of artificial intelligence if you didn't introduce it. Oh. Yes, all for digital economy 2030. So you can see here, and there's, we stand at the birth of a new millennium, ready to unlock the mysteries of space, to free the earth from the miseries of disease, which is, I think, the same as what, in 2016 what the World Economic Forum talked about, like you won't have to die waiting for organ transfers or organ transplants, which is weird to even discuss, like it's going to be some sort of common thing. It's ready to unlock the mysteries of space, to free the Earth from the many miseries, not mini-series, although it is quite a mini-series, isn't it, of disease, and to harness the energies, industries, and technologies of tomorrow. I wish my voice echoed. President Donald J. Trump. We're on the verge of new technological revolutions that could improve virtually every aspect of our lives, including banking. Create vast new wealth for American workers and families. So that's what he's talking about in terms of the partnership with Google. Create vast new wealth for American workers and families. Google. And remember the workforce, that they're going to improve work with the workforce. Who the fuck knows? And open up bold new frontiers in science, medicine, and communication. I know that there's some sort of health AI thing that UK has pursued in, that's a part of that Sustainable Development Goals PDF about the progress within the UK. That was the only thing that was there for UK, so at that time. But yeah, you can look at this yourself and have a look. So we're up to now the fourth part, which will be the end of 2021 to 2025, what's happened in between with the Biden administration once Trump has left in 2020, what's happened with open banking in between, in AI, and also he's not done. Goodness gracious. And up until 2025, with also the Canada-Mexico-US agreement that was already done by 2019, was it? Or 2018? November 30th. Anyway, I think it was 2019. That coming back into play with his second presidency, which was destiny, I guess, with the new mandate for leadership of Heritage Foundation for 2025. Thank you.